Good evening, book lovers. Welcome to another episode of Cath-Lit Live. I am your host, Amy Cattapan. You can find me everywhere on social media under my pen name, AJ Cattapan, or check out my website, ajcattapan.com. So I have another author for you today with a book that has released not too long ago. And she's a new author to Cath-Lit Live, so I'm really excited to have her joining me tonight to talk about her new book, Bella's Beautiful Miracle, A Caterpillar's Story. And this author who's going to be joining us tonight is Kimberly Novak. Kimberly is a child of God, wife, mother, author, and spiritual director. Her calling to minister to the spiritual needs of others was born when sudden changes developed in her personal life. Embracing the gift in those struggles allowed God to mold and transform her in ways that enable her to help those around her. Kimberly's mission is to enhance each journey by guiding others where the light of strength is, God's love. So please help me welcome to the show, Kimberly Novak. Hi, Kimberly.
Hi, Amy.
Thank you for coming on Cath-Lit Live with me tonight.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
All right, so we're talking about your book, and I think you've got a copy there to show us, right? There we go. Bella's Beautiful Miracle, A Caterpillar's Journey. Tell us what this book is about.
So Bella, the caterpillar, is peacefully getting ready to sleep one night, and a storm hits. She gets scared, lost in the storm, and as she's lost, she starts to lose her trust and her faith in God. When that happens, her colors in her stripes start to fade. And then as the storm escalates, she lands safely on the back of a snail who was waiting for her on the path. And then the snail takes her on a spiritual journey through the forest, teaching her how to pray, how to trust in God again. As her faith restores, her colors in her stripes come back brighter than they were before the storm happened. So the story is learning how to trust in God again. Anybody who's gone through a loss or any kind of storm in their life would relate with it.
I was thinking about the symbolism of the storm as you were talking about it, right? Like she's in a literal storm, but how often do we have figurative storms that we encounter, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
What age group would you say that this is for?
I would say technically it's 8 to 12,
okay,
but 8 through 85 is what I like to tell people.
As a sixth grade teacher who reads a lot of picture books to her students, I know, and even in my doctoral program, I had professors reading us picture books. They can go for all ages.
Right. Yeah, it definitely will hit the heart of anybody who's knows somebody who's been through a loss or has gone through one themselves.
Tell me a bit more about the title and its significance.
I actually struggled with the title when I was writing until I took some advice from my editor who said, just write. And the title will end up finding itself, really. I knew I wanted something positive, but I wanted something that would be attractive to both boys and girls. Mm-hmm. And it was the last chapter, almost the last paragraph, when I was writing dialogue. Bella goes out, she's been transformed, she's starting her ministry, and she finds a broken butterfly, and she calls her beautiful miracle. And it chokes me outside.
This is personal to you because you're a spiritual director, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. You've probably walked people through a lot of journeys and helped them find their own kind of miracles in that work. Sometimes people base some of their characters on people they really know. Do you use people you really know to base your characters on?
Actually, I did. Because the story was modeled after something that I went through in my life. And so I did. All the characters who were in the story are modeled after friends, family. I like to call them the God Squad, people who God placed in my life when I needed them the most. Sometimes they were there for just a season. Others were lifetime friends, and they were supportive. They were supportive during my storm. They were supportive after. And when I reached out and said, if you were going to be a bug in a forest, what would you want to be? They were ready to jump on board.
So they know who they are in the book.
Yes.
Very nice. And they got to choose what kind of bug they were going to be.
Most of them did. Yeah.
I met a mystery writer once. I love cozy mysteries. That's like my fun reading, right? And I met a cozy mystery writer once at a writers conference, and she was saying about how the boy who like stood her up for prom, she made one of the victims in her cozy mystery.
Oh, gee.
And then she went to her hometown and did a book signing, and the guy walked in, and she thought, "Oh no!"
Oh.
And the guy came up to her and said, "Yeah, that villain." That guy, he was terrible. What a jerk. And she had no idea the guy was based off of him.
Oh my gosh.
But at least all your people knew, and they were
Yes,
okay with it.
they were okay with it. Yes.
I love that you let them even pick out what type of bug they got to be. So did you find this an exhausting experience? I'm wrapping up my manuscript for my next book for teachers. It's due a week from tomorrow. There are times it is exhausting me and times I love it. What is the process like for you?
I let the spirit lead. This particular project took 5 years from idea to completion, but it wasn't all active writing. I had periods where I wrote and periods where the notes sat in the drawer for a while. Once I did start actively writing, writing feeds me. God feeds me, especially when I'm doing spiritual writing, anything related to prayer or scripture or listening to God. I'm energized by it. I have a passion for it. If I do get tired, then I pray on it and go from there. But I don't find it exhausting until I've hit a little bit of a writer's block, which has only happened to me a couple times since I'm new at all this. But I know to step aside, get out of my head, refresh, and then go back.
Great. Well, this sounds like a lovely book. Tell me, where can people find out more about you and Bella's Beautiful Miracle?
They can go to my website, KimberlyNovak.com. My blog is also outofthechrysalis.com, and it's linked on my website as well as I also have a little God Time, which is a Facebook community prayer group, and the link to that is on my website as well.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much for coming on tonight, Kimberly. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Take care.
All right, you too. All right, we're going to wave bye to Kimberly. Say goodbye to her. All right, and I'm going to thank all of you for joining me for another episode of Cath-Lit Live. I've got 2 authors already lined up for February. In fact, I'm lined up for a few months now. I have lots of authors with lots of great books coming up. I have some repeat people I know you're going to want to check in. Stephanie Lansom, who writes historical fiction. I've had her on the show before, and well, I'm just going to leave the second person as a surprise. But Stephanie Lansom's coming up next in mid-February, so please make sure you come back. In the meantime, like, subscribe, and I will catch you next time. Until then, happy reading.